Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Two Thumbs Up podcast, where today we have too much to discuss. I think we have one too many things to go over. The last 72 hours have just been, I don't even know. It's been the most ridiculous 72 hours I can remember in mobile gaming for years. I've been on my toes. I know probably a lot of you guys have been on your toes trying to get the game under your hands, under control, figure out what's going on, settings guides, HUD guides, gameplay. People are Apex Predator in the first few days of the game. It's insane. And so we've got all that to discuss and more in today's episode. We don't have a special guest, but you know, that's just, we have so much stuff to go over. So once again, we're going to try to be getting special guests on every episode or two. And so if you guys have anyone you really think would be a great fit, leave them down in the comments. We've already got some people lined up. We're going to keep you guys entertained. Do not worry. But geez Louise, I've been busy. I know you've been busy with the Apex launch. And like I said, there is a lot to get underway. But bugs. Jeez, this game. Listen, there's a lot of good. There's a lot of good we could talk about, and we're gonna talk about it. But this game's buggy. This game is glitchy. It's tripping all over the place. It's tripping over itself. And I would argue there's more bugs in the global launch of this game than there is of the soft launch. We played the soft launch for 2 months. There was a few bugs here and there. Like, all right, they'll iron them out. You fix them. It happens. It's a soft launch. That's what it's there for. You have the soft launch. People play, find bugs, they fix them. They made so many more new bugs, and they're so much worse. I don't really know how that happens. Genuinely.
Yeah, I feel like, and also there were like major glaring bugs in the soft launch that they didn't fix as well. I think like the rubber banding whenever you move too fast, primarily, I think being the biggest one. That's definitely one that we expected to get fixed off the bat. And then to name just a few of the bugs, obviously the most glaring one is probably the audio glitch. It sounds like somebody is shooting like right next to you when there's literally nobody. It's not even like you're hearing your teammates' shots, you're hearing far away shots. There'll be two teams left in the game, your team and the other one. You're nowhere close to each other, and you hear gunshots right next to yourself. So that's obviously a big one. And like you mentioned, so many more that got added in the soft launch that obviously it's the launch of a game. And to be honest, this is almost what we've come to expect. I feel like, and
sadly,
just like as mobile gamers, there's been so many launches. I think the first one that comes to mind recently was PUBG New State, which was I didn't actually play it, but I believe that was one of the worst launches in like the history of mobile. And I don't know what the thing is, because Apex had so much feedback to go off of from the soft launch. It's a little bit surprising that it had this many bugs for the amount of hype that came around it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely in a state where by no means is it a new state. If any of you all listening or watching played that game, I mean, I even did like a stream with them. I went to some events in California and played New State, and they're like, yo, listen, this game's kind of buggy. And we're like, huh? I was like, all right, I haven't even put my hands on the game yet. Hop on it, and yeah, like Surfing Boy was giving me the lowdown about just how the game was, like, it was just, I don't want to say terrible, but yeah, like launching a game, especially as hype as that, it's rough to see that. It just kills off so much hype. So Apex is not in a new state position. Don't worry about it. But there are still issues. Like the audio glitch. At this point, if I hear a shot in the game, 90% of the time, I'm like, all right, here's a shot. I don't know if it's real. You can't even calm out real audio anymore because you don't know if it's real. So sometimes it sounds really real, and then you walk over to the area, no one. It's deserted. No gunshots, footsteps. And that was in the global test build we played, and we were all like, yeah, this is pretty bad. They should probably fix it. Nothing.
Yep.
Nothing. But it's even more interesting because there's some stuff in the global build that wasn't in the global test build. So they obviously made changes to it, but still recoverable. Luckily, there's no big glitches that like disconnect people or really ruin your gameplay experience. It's just kind of minor inconveniences that you can put up with. But over time, they're really going to get on people's nerves. They're really going to that's what ultimately dictates how long a game can survive and keep the player base happy, is if players notice a bug, the devs are aware of the bug, and they either do something to fix it in a timely manner, or they do absolutely nothing, and then you're stuck. You're just getting frustrated. And I hope, we're three days in. I'm not even gonna play out the scenario of what's gonna happen if they don't fix these bugs. But I don't know. There's too much good stuff to talk about to really be focusing on the bugs. But they're there. They're unfortunate to deal with, but I don't think a bug's got me like killed yet.
Yeah.
The rubber banding's pretty bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's okay. It's all right. It's for, like you said, it's what we've come to expect from mobile games.
I don't know if this counts as a bug, but the way that you can queue into a ranked game, like yesterday we queued into a Japan server lobby. I don't know if that's intentional. It shouldn't be intentional if it is, and maybe they're doing that to try to keep rank queues fast. But especially once you get to that level, because we were going up against like diamond players, and I'm pretty sure we were like gold or early plat at that point. So
yeah, we were like low plat or something.
That's another thing, because I was watching Ferg, and this is going to be another thing that we talk about, but he was on his road to Apex Predator trying to become #1, and he did the same thing. He queued into an Asia lobby, and he was on 300 ping for the entire game. And obviously, like, when you're going against that level of competition, you just don't stand a chance on 300 ping. That's another thing that I'm curious to see if they make changes on it. There's been people talking about they need to optimize the ping. To be honest, I feel like 90 ping in Apex feels like, and we talked about this yesterday, 90 ping on Apex feels like 45 ping on COD Mobile. Like, it may just be that they have a more accurate depiction of what your ping actually is, because 90 ping on COD Mobile, it takes like half a second for your shots to register, but they still feel relatively consistent for 90 ping on Apex. So that's another thing that we're just going to have to kind of wait and see on.
Yeah, I mean, my ping, so for most mobile games, COD Mobile, I used to get like 15 ping, and for Apex, I get 50 ping. So that's like I haven't seen anyone lower than 50 ping. Most people talk about like 90, 120. Like you said, I just think they might have a better accurate representation of what it actually is, and most mobile games might lie to make you feel better, because having good ping on a mobile game is really difficult, especially on Wi-Fi. So there's some stuff to be ironed out, but let's talk about the great, I would say, launch of the game. Other than the few bugs and glitches, the launch overwhelmingly, I would say, was received positively. There was a lot of hype for it. I think the hype delivered. There have been some mobile games where it's overhyped. You download the game, or just games in general, and you're just left. Wait, what was this? What was everything I was promised? I think they might have over-delivered in some aspects, because they're still pumping out content 3 days in. They're still just shoveling us loads of things to do, and so 20 million downloads on the first day of Android. I didn't even know that. I was gonna check to see how many downloads I got.
20 million or 10 million? That might be a typo, but I could have sworn it was 20 million.
I could check the Google.
That does sound
Play.
high. It might be.
Let me check the Google Play Store.
Yeah,
and let me see. Apex Legends Mobile. What are we thinking? Oh no. Oh, ebooks? Yeah, let's get an ebook. 300,000 reviews.
Wow.
I can't check on my PC.
So it says 10 million plus downloads. I would imagine it probably only updates after 10 million, probably at either 50 million or 100 million. So
I think it goes to 50 million.
A 100% solidified number, but I would guess it'll probably hit 50 million on Android within the next couple days. And also keep in mind, for iOS, they didn't have they never had iOS pre-registration, right?
No, it was always just like, click this link and sign up. Like, they're just farming emails, like, enter your email and we'll email you. And I was like, so they had like a pre-registered number. I think it was like 15 million people pre-registered on Android. And so I have to assume there's at least 15 million downloads. No, I don't know. This game seems pretty heavily Android skewed, considering to me, I'm used to a lot of Fortnite, like iOS players. So I don't know.
So in the same vein of talking about like Android, I think there's a lot of people that have talked about the game needing to be optimized for lower end devices. And we've actually noticed they do have like specific settings that are only available on lower end devices. So I think that is a good step. One thing that I've been thinking about is it worth it from a business standpoint for developers to develop for lower end devices, because I was specifically looking at the numbers for like the revenue numbers for COD Mobile versus the revenue numbers for Free Fire, which is obviously like the most played mobile game in the world, and then the concurrent user numbers versus Free Fire and COD Mobile. So COD Mobile has around between 50 and 60 million concurrent monthly views, not concurrent, average monthly users. Free Fire has 3 times that.
And Free Fire, million?
Yeah, 150 million, and Free Fire only makes 10% more revenue than COD Mobile. Think about that. 300 times the user base, and they only make 10% more revenue.
A 300% increase in players, and you get just to get a 10% increase in revenue.
And so that's kind of what got me thinking, like, I know the game's not super well optimized for low-end devices, but I think probably the approach that a lot of these developers are taking is the people that are using those devices, they're not going to spend any money on the game. Like, that probably just don't have the access. They're probably kids. Their parents got them a phone, and they play video games on it. And so I think that's probably the approach that we're going to see a lot of companies take in the future. And I know that's frustrating for a lot of people that want to play the games, but also at the same time, like, looking at those numbers specifically, it made a lot more sense to me why companies aren't necessarily as concerned with catering to the lower end and instead focusing on the people that are going to be really committed to the game and continually buying things.
Yeah, there was someone came into my stream yesterday, and I mean, like you said, it's just been all over the place. Optimization, how to get better FPS. That's always the number one thing. Mobile game comes out, how do I get the most performance? And it just comes down to your device. If you have a good update next gen device, you're gonna get good performance. It's like PC. If you have a good graphics card, a good CPU, it costs money, but that's just how technology progresses. You get better performance over time. And someone was like, I can't even download the game. And I was like, listen, bud, if you the device requirements are like literally an iPhone 6s. I believe the iPhone 6s released in 2015 or 2016. If you have a 6-year-old phone, that's not meant for gaming. Gaming back then was Clash of Clans. Gaming back then was literally Candy Crush, the stereotype. And so things have progressed in gaming so much further in the last 6 years than what was planned for back then. And I always come back to it and think of, optimizing for these lower devices. Like you said, I feel bad for anyone who can't play these new next-gen AAA games that are coming out and are going to be coming out on mobile. But the developers have to spend time optimizing the lower devices. I would argue this is the most optimized game I've ever been a part of for launch. I mean, you have 20 FPS hard caps, 30, 40, 50, 60, 80 FPS. I've never seen a mobile game with as much optimization across the board as Apex Legends. They have a setting that I can't even access on my iPad. There is the rough settings for really low-end devices, like I guess really low-end Android and iOS. And then there's smooth, which is the lowest that my iPad can access. And I would argue that this is incredibly optimized. And if you still aren't having the best gameplay experience, then you unfortunately probably just don't have the most up-to-date device. And that's not the developer's fault. Like, at the end of the day, it's no one's fault really, but it's just unfortunate. It's just unfortunate that mobile games have this crazy discrepancy in optimization, and then people play into the, oh, I only have 30 FPS, so I can't be that good, and you're so much better just because of your device. And it's like, Xbox 360s, they had to discontinue games to go to the Xbox One. The same thing for PS3 and PS4 and PS5. It's just a natural progression of gaming, and some people are going to get, unoptimized for, and they can't download and play the game. But that's just gaming. That's just like technology, and it's a really unfortunate side effect. But I would say it's optimized like heavily for all users, low end, high end. So I have no complaints on my end, but I know there's some people out there who probably aren't the happiest campers.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, you can still there's still a lot of time for them to continue to optimize. I think they're going to be able to gather obviously you can gather way more feedback from 30 million players than you can from just a specific amount in a certain region for soft launch. So I'm not sure we're even saying that it's always going to be this way. They may find ways to make it more runnable on lower end devices. The other thing to keep in mind is that the base file size for iOS is 3.5 gigs. So for a brand new game, that's not a small file size by any means. And so that's another thing. Like, if you don't have a newer device, like back then, most devices that came out only had like 8 gigs, 4 gigs, whatever it was. So there's just a lot of stuff that's the way it's always been in gaming. Like you said, if you can afford a nicer setup, you're going to have better performance in the games that you play. So hopefully we do continue to see them optimize things and everything else. But I think they are, like you said, heading in the right direction. They are very much trying to optimize as well as they can. And I think once they get some things nailed down, especially on the rubber banding side of things, connection and everything else, they'll be in a really good spot, and absolutely no question. It's the most competitive Battle Royale right now. Next up, we wanted to talk about Ferg stream, the leaderboards, number one grind, insane competition. There's a lot to talk about right here. So for those of you who, if you for some reason weren't following along, Ferg streamed for 45 hours. In that time, he reached Apex Predator. He also technically reached the number one spot, but because the Apex Legends mobile leaderboards only update once a day, it didn't show him at the top. He was friends with the number one player, and he had passed that player, but the leaderboards didn't actually show him at the top if you looked at the global leaderboard. So obviously for him, that was frustrating. He, at the end of his stream, there was a big long clip where he talked about Apex Legends is just going to be another passerby game. It's unfortunate that they don't care. He was getting stream sniped by hackers. He said it's unfortunate that they don't care about the hackers. And I think most of us assumed, oh, he's just sleep deprived. He doesn't actually mean any of this. He'll take a nice long nap and come back to Apex Legends Mobile. Come to find out, later that day, he had continued grinding off stream, and he was just throwing the hackers off of his trail. And I watched Sanu's stream this morning. Ferg is still grinding. So this man,
no way.
I feel like he had to have taken a nap in there at some point.
I hope for the guy's health and sanity that staying awake, I think you get like, there's a condition. If you stay awake for like 3 days, you start hallucinating. You literally start having health problems after being awake for such an insane amount of time. I don't know. That's not me. People, he's setting the bar so incredibly high for anyone else to try to compete with him that people are like, yo, are you going to do a 48-hour stream? I'm like, I'm a human, man. I'm not a robot cyborg who can just willingly, flip a switch and then go for 48 hours straight. But yeah, I actually saw a bit of that, his like talk, and where he was like, oh man, these hackers are already getting to me, and this game sucks. And I was like, oh god, he's 3 days in and he's quitting. But yeah, it looks like he was just pulling a fast one on everyone, which is really smart. I mean, he got me, he fooled me. Maybe he was just acting, or he was genuinely feeling that 50 hours into playing the game. But the guy is on a different level, and I think it just goes to show that this is going to be the most competitive game a mobile launch is just seen. Like, at launch, you've got the guy known for being number one in the world, streaming 50 hours, playing 50 hours plus. At this point, we don't even know. I hope he's been recording it, and he's gonna come out with a documentary of like
It's gonna be like a 3.5 hour documentary.
It's gonna be like the first 72 hours. Yeah, it's gonna be a 3.5 hour like movie. He's gonna premiere it in the theaters. It's gonna be on Disney Plus streaming. It's gonna be a whole thing. But it's crazy what mobile gaming is. It's no longer, I'll play for a few hours. I'll be on my couch. No, like, people are. I'm confused by it. I know some of these guys. They're in school. They're in high school, and they're cranking out 8, 10, 12-hour days. Like, it's my job. It's my job, and I've been averaging like 8 hours a day, and there are people doing more than me, and it's ridiculous. And I think what also is interesting, and I want to get your feedback on this and your take, but this is not a regional leaderboard. This is not a regional grind. This is a global grind. If you checked out the global leaderboards, you'll recognize a lot of foreign users, probably not from your region. And that, I think, is what's pushing the competition to the absolute next level.
Yeah, absolutely, no question. I think there's like 5 Japan players that were ahead of Ferg for the longest time. At the end of or even when the leaderboards first updated, he was in 7th place. So it's not even like, and not saying Ferg's not better than those players, but they won more games, they got more points than him at that point. So it is absolutely no question the global leaderboard, combined with the fact that they have a top 500 rank. That's not something that any other mobile game has ever had. Thinking about like major competitive mobile shooters in the past, you have PUBG, Free Fire, COD Mobile. You can talk about Fortnite Mobile, but it doesn't really exist anymore.
Nah, don't talk about it.
But COD Mobile's never had something like that for the top 500. PUBG has had it, but PUBG ranked has been largely dominated by bots, and obviously that's another complaint people had about Apex for lower ranks, but it's definitely not the case for the higher ranks, because we got into an Apex Pred lobby yesterday, and it was just one of the more bizarre experiences we've ever had. Everybody was camping a building, camping a corner. There's a lot of people out there competing. It is also interesting because if I had to guess, some of those Apex Pred players are probably account sharing, because the guy that we ended up spectating after we died didn't hit the slide button one time, didn't hit the jump button one time. He didn't even ADS his Mastiff. He just stood at a doorway and kept hip firing his Mastiff. I think he did like 20 damage. He had like 5 kills, 3 assists, and 500 damage. That was one of...
Wait, he had 5 kills?
Yeah!
Whenever I spectated my like hard one way, and you guys were like, we all had more damage than an Apex Pred, and we were all in like low plat lobbies. That's one thing I really hope gets addressed if it is happening, these account sharing possibilities, because like I said, there's just no way. Like Ferg is an outlier. He is a god. He is sent from another universe to play mobile games. All right, I think we've all come to just understand that fact and deal with it. There's no way there's 100 other Fergs in the world who are the same as him and just have no job, no obligations, no responsibilities, and they just play Apex Mobile, and they're good at it. Okay, because that guy wasn't good, though. The guy we spectated, we basically found out Apex Pred, and we were like, this guy's gonna be cracked. He sucked. He wasn't good. And so that kind of stirred up my thoughts of, okay, count sharing could... I don't know if you've had knowledge, experience with that in other mobile shooters, mobile games. That's, for me, Fortnite Mobile, that was never like... There was never really a leaderboard grind. No one really cared. Maybe a few select minority people in the community was like, leaderboards. But everyone else like didn't care. So I don't know if that's been a COD Mobile thing, like account sharing, or once again, it's really, I'm not accusing. I'm not accusing. This is just thinking out loud. I don't know, because this is insane. I'm playing as much as I humanly can, and I can't keep up with these guys.
Yep. It's that has been a thing in the past for COD Mobile. There are people that have been exposed for account sharing their way to #1 and all that. So I don't really know if there's anything you can do about it. Like, you can't just restrict it to one device. You can't restrict it to one IP. And I think that's just going to be the way that mobile is. And I think, to be honest, like, after Ferg gets #1, Ferg is #1, but after Ferg's done grinding, because he's not going to continue to grind 24/7. He has other things to do. He's got content to create and everything else. I think once he's done with it, I don't think people are going to care as much about the #1 player. I think it'll still matter, because that's been a popular thing in most games, but I don't think it's going to be necessarily as big of a deal. So maybe not as much concern whenever it comes to account sharing and things of that nature. Obviously, another thing that people have been talking about a lot over the past day with the launch of Apex Legends Mobile is the whole COD Mobile versus Apex Mobile debate. I feel like they're the two most similar games, so that's kind of like the natural point of comparison. So it is difficult to compare a game that came out 3 years ago to a game that just released, and there's different engines that are being used, different leaderboards, different systems. There's definitely things that Apex is doing a phenomenal job at that COD Mobile has never done. There's things COD Mobile has done that Apex is not doing. And I think, like, it really is to each their own thing, you know? Like, not everybody's going to be able to run Apex. I think there's a lot more people that can run COD M. So for people that with lower end devices, I think they're going to go that way. For people that enjoy the multiplayer side of things, that like the fast-paced action, they're going to go that way as well. And I would say, no question, COD Mobile has the better multiplayer experience. I tried Apex's TDM. It's cool, but it's not really the type of thing I would grind out on a consistent basis. And I think when it comes down to it, like, people are just going to play what they want to play. There's not really a point in nonstop comparing the two, saying one's better. They both have elements that are fantastic, and they both have issues that need to be fixed. So for me, COD MMP greater than Apex MP, Apex BR greater than COD MBR, and I don't think there's a whole lot else that you really got to look at.
Yeah, I did just send you a picture. So this is the search volume on Google Trends. So it's a website that actually tracks. It's Google search engine. It tracks the amount of volume compared to another topic. So you can compare hot dogs to hamburgers, see what people are searching for more. And I've used this a lot in the past to sort of determine the search interest of a game or a new topic. And this could be something, you know, content creators out there looking to make content, want to see something's a game's gonna be popping. I've used this a ton in the past. And so I just sent over 2 screenshots. We'll put them on screen right now. The first one is the 5-year graph for just the search term Call of Duty Mobile. Now it's hard to, because Apex Legends Mobile, it's like the way they, you know, do search terms is a bit different. And so this is like the most comparable way. But as you can see, Call of Duty Mobile 2019, big spike, and it's kind of been hovering around, you know, 50 volume ever since. This is for the United States, by the way, because worldwide COD Mobile, I think, just smacks Apex. I'll go check. Past 5 years. Let's see. Yeah, it's a bit different. I'll send that screenshot as well. We could put it on screen for worldwide. But for me, I think mainly of United States in terms of search volume. But obviously worldwide, this game is massive. Apex Mobile is gonna be massive. But as you can see, whoop, right up there. It just takes a nice sharp boop into the, actually above the current search interest of Call of Duty Mobile. And then the second graph is a more detailed zoomed in. It's the 30 days, and that thing is quadruple the search interest of Call of Duty Mobile right now. Apex Mobile is. And so people have their sentiments. What game is better? Like you said, Call of Duty Mobile has a superior multiplayer system. It is really good. They've done a really good job of perfecting it over the last few years. But the Battle Royale is up for grabs. The mobile Battle Royale spot, especially for the United States, is really up for grabs. For the NA, EU regions, I would say it's prime for the taking. And I think Apex Mobile, just shows that there is a ton of interest in the game compared to another popular mobile shooter. And so we're going to have to see. Obviously, it's going to be a big spike in interest, and then it's going to dwindle off. But I'm really interested to see where it levels off and where the graph and the interest sort of decides to stay at. Because I think that will show a better long-term picture for COD Mobile versus Apex than us just saying, you know, both games are good. They're both good, and they're both still going to be around. But COD Mobile had a pretty uncontested reign these last few years, if you think about it.
Yeah, for about 2.5 years, there was just not another solid mobile title that came out. I feel like not one that actually had a good launch anyway. Like the only one I can think of is New State, and we already talked about that. How I think there were definitely people that were like, yeah, New State's gonna be the COD mobile killer, and then it was buggy reskin PUBG, and they're like, oh wait, never mind.
Yeah.
So it's definitely gonna be interesting. And obviously the other thing you got to think about is Warzone Mobile's alpha was actually announced this week. I think that's going to be...
Really?
Ducky, how have you not seen that?
Bro, my timeline has been Apex. Like, I haven't...
No, it was before the Apex... Okay. Well, yeah.
Hey, all right,
Project
you
Aurora.
All right.
I'll link the tweet. I totally assumed that you had seen that, but...
I had not. Well, you're way more in the COD community than I am. You're
all
like,
the Apex guys posted it.
Bro, I was just saying Apex, man. I don't know what to say. It was my timeline has just been Apex, random tweet, Apex. So
yeah, we
apologies.
have official sources from Activision saying Project Aurora is going to be the name for the alpha for Warzone Mobile. So we at least know that that's in development. There's been a lot of people asking, oh, why isn't it like the Rainbow Six Alpha? We can play the Rainbow Six Alpha, but we can't play the Warzone Mobile Alpha. It could be that it's not as far along. It could just be that it's a different procedure. Obviously, Ubisoft is not quite as big as Activision, so they have a little bit more freedom in how they want to run things. there's still speculation to be seen, but at least hopes that we could have a beta for Warzone Mobile. And to be honest, I think probably Warzone Mobile has a better chance at contending with Apex at the top than COD Mobile does. I think COD Mobile will still be a dominant force, but it's just difficult to rebuild that hype outside of creating a brand new engine. I think a lot of the player base has been playing it for so long, and there's really only so much you can do at this point. That's the thing. I think esports will still thrive in the multiplayer side of things, especially because it looks like they're going to continue to support that. But I think as far as hype goes, as far as the amount of attention it's going to get in the public eye, I think Warzone Mobile is more than likely going to be the biggest shot at contending with Apex as far as public hype goes.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, the only way to get your name out there for a game is just launch it. You just have to make a new game, and that's what people are interested in. Because a new game comes with just so much. It comes with the possibility of competitive scenes. People are able to get their name out there way easier than an established multi-year-old game like COD Mobile. Like, trying to get into the scene of a game that's been established is incredibly difficult. So I think just everyone gets hyped about a new game, and like you said, unless something drastically revolutionary came to COD Mobile, I don't say it's wraps. It's not wraps. The game's still, like you say, it's gonna be there. It's gonna be a contender. But this is the first time in a long while where we've had competing mobile games, and
also, like, if you look at the history of Call of Duty, the Call of Duty PC and console titles, they release a new game every year, so they're getting updated graphics, updated engines, updated everything. And the game, like, you have the ability to progress the game when you're doing things like that, and you can't really do that with a mobile game outside of just releasing a new one. But the thing is, people like invest so much of themselves into mobile games in a way that they don't really on the PC and console side of things, that I think they also get more frustrated when, oh, we're just going to come out with a new one. They're like, what do I do with all this stuff that I bought? And so I think it's a tougher balance to hold on the mobile side of things as well. Yeah,
that's a good point. I mean, growing up, I never, like, a new COD would come out, and I wouldn't be like, oh, I just bought $60 worth of DLC and, $10 worth of skins on Black Ops 2, and I have to do it on Black Ops 3? No, that thought never crossed my mind. But yeah, the mobile sphere has like a different way of getting attached to their games and their skins and their accounts and their progress that like just hasn't been seen before. So interested to see what happens. Hey, you seem to have the leaks, so just DM me, all right? If any more Warzone stuff happens, I'm not gonna see it. I mean, I'm a super follower, and I didn't even see that. I don't know. That's crazy.
That's crazy, dude.
That's wild.
I had like 900 likes.
Yeah, I know. It's hey, congrats.
He doesn't have my noties on. It's fine.
I don't even have
one day I'll make it there, guys.
So, more Apex stuff. Hopping back to the Apex. TSM has been spewing out some tweets. They are farming impressions. Believe it or not, there's an org farming impressions for Apex Legends Mobile, and that is TSM, Team Solo Mid. And I don't really
actually the highest valued org in the world right now.
Really? I saw that list come out. Yep. I didn't know they were still at the top.
Yep, they are.
So I think an org worth like roughly 500 million, if I'm not wrong, is looking to get into Apex Mobile, which, like I just said, this is when people are looking to get into games, not even just content creators and pro players and making a name for themselves, orgs. This is a fresh time. There's so many eyeballs on a new game. You don't see TSM hopping into COD Mobile or other mobile esports that have been established if they don't have a team there. And once again, this is going to be an interesting, I would say, warfare, like war ground for, people being, once the first team gets scooped up, it's going to be hunting season. You're going to see teams, you're going to see orgs, content orgs, scooping up people left and right. I remember back in the day, I had 60,000 subscribers maybe, and I got picked up to Tribe in the hopes
You were on Tribe?
Yeah, for 2 months, 2 or 3 months.
I totally never knew that.
It was when I had 60K subs, and I joined them for like 2-3 months in the hopes, or like they were banking on Fortnite Mobile being big, and then it ended up being big, but I left them way before. I can't remember. I think it was to join another.
Fortnite Mobile had like a weird momentum. Like it was a little bit after the game came out that it actually ended up blowing up. It was interesting.
Yeah, no, the Fortnite Mobile was just such It's weird. I can't. Yeah, I'm glad Apex is different because just hype off the bat. Hope the hype stays there. But Fortnite was like little bloop, and then it just kept going over time. It was weird, but yeah, that's what happened at Fortnite Mobile. Is once the first team got signed, people were just getting scooped up left and right, and it was, like I said, it was hunting season. So I think that's gonna happen here is when the first little indication of ALGS for mobile comes out. Boom. I mean, teams probably already have rosters. I don't know. I don't know who else is interested. I would have to assume maybe some like tier 2, lower tier 1 esports. I don't really see like FaZe hopping. Well, I don't know. We don't know. At this point, I don't really understand how ALGS works. I don't follow it that much. But I know they're like TSM as a team, NRG as a team. And so it would make sense if these teams have PC console to hop into mobile. That's my thought process.
I mean, for TSM, as far as I'm aware, and I don't pay a ton of attention to TSM, but from what I've heard, it seems like Apex Legends is the only esport that they've been like really excelling in over the past year. So It makes sense for Apex Mobile to be the next step for them. There are people on staff with TSM that seem to be hinting on Twitter that they're going to be picking up a content creator soon as well. So that should definitely be interesting to see who they end up picking up. Obviously, Tribe recently signed Owen. Outside of that, there haven't really been any content creators signed for Apex Legends Mobile, so there's definitely still a lot of players available out there. I'm curious to see what it is, but it does make sense that they would continue to ride the Apex hype train because also Apex itself, just the PC and console version, has been trending very much upward in terms of its popularity, both with streamers and publicly. Their system for how they do ALGS allows a lot of people to get involved. They're just doing a lot of things right now. So as far as hype goes, Apex console and PC has it going as well. So those could have a lot of synergy together and potentially make a huge impact for orgs like TSM.
Yeah, and just when you're saying like picking up content creators, that's like a huge way to grow an org's popularity in a game. It's just to have a pro team, they're good, and people are like, I'm gonna pull for whoever's winning. And it's been like Fortnite Mobile never had that. Fortnite Mobile was never an org thing. It was never esports heavy. So I'm really excited. Like genuinely, I'm excited to see just the esports and the org growth in this game and how many opportunities are created because of it, both on content and professionally. Because I know there's a lot of people who've been grinding for over a year now, and the time has come, and now you're gonna see what people are gonna be able to make of it.
Yeah, I'd say Apex has definitely set the bar high for mobile launches in the future. It was also like mind-blowing to me how many different content creators they got involved. I don't think any other mobile game has really done that. I think New State did it a little bit, and obviously they're the most recent case study or whatever you want to call it. But they got people from a lot of different pockets, a lot of different games. Obviously, people that play Apex, people that play COD Mobile, people that play PUBG Mobile, people that play Free Fire. I think they did a good job of promoting it. I'm curious to see what the final numbers are going to be because I believe the first week downloads for COD Mobile ended up being 100 million, which is a pretty high bar to set, especially given the fact that they didn't do that much promotion, at least on the content creator side of things. So I am curious to see what those numbers end up being at the end.
Do they update the numbers, quote unquote, real time for the was that Android downloads or was that like iOS, Android? Like, did COD Mobile publish that number? Because I remember
Yes.
Apex, they published, I think it was for the first week of the PC and console game, at like 50 million downloads. Because they went they had a Mr. Beast video. They went crazy with the promotion. And they went pretty crazy with this one. There was, I want to say, over like 50, 75 sponsored content creators, both mobile, PC, and console, that post. Like, it's Timmy. I would say probably the biggest content creator out there posted his mobile video yesterday. And that mobile video of his is doing better than his last few uploads. So there just seems to be a lot of interest, which is really good. But yeah, I think Apex Mobile is probably gonna do like a first week download metric. Like, we got 70 million downloads in the first week. But I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, does COD Mobile have like lower device requirements than Apex Mobile? Do you know if it's like 1 gig RAM?
I would assume it does since it came out 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've increased the device requirements, but based on the fact that it's the same engine, I would be surprised if they
Yeah,
did.
it looks the same.
Yeah. So I'd assume it probably has lower device requirements.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that they might lose out on, I don't know, 10% of downloads maybe. So if it's 70 million, they could have maybe had 80 million if they would have lowered the device requirements. But then, like we were talking about, if you lower the device requirements, then they get a lower quality of gameplay. They're not going to be spending that much money. That doesn't really benefit too much in terms of the ecosystem. But yeah, I would say in terms of me being a part of a mobile launch, I was sort of a part of COD Mobile, but I kind of hopped out. The Fortnite launch was terrible. It was probably like there was no customizable HUD. The graphic 30 FPS for all around the board, and mobile games have come a long time in that time span, but they're pumping out content, like days in to the launch, and there's so much content at launch. There's so many game modes. There's so much they've done right that I think it just does nothing but good for the mobile scene, and it sets a good standard. That's a good precedent for Warzone Mobile, for Valorant Mobile. Any of these mobile games that want to come out, they're going to look at Apex, say this is the last mobile game that came out. What did they do right? And they're going to copy it. What did they do wrong? And they'll try to fix that stuff. And it's been a good launch, been a good 72 hours. But I'm very, very curious to see where things land a few months from now when we're going to be talking about the Warzone soft launch, the Valorant closed beta. This Apex has got the limelight for now, and I really hope they excel and they bask in all the glory and they do well with it, because their time is limited. They've got some big competition right on their heels.
I mean, the main thing is, like, this is a great time to be a mobile gamer, because competition is, like, for gamers themselves, competition is the best thing you can have. For a long time, PUBG didn't have a competition. For a long time, COD Mobile didn't have any real competition. The fact that Apex is coming in, they're raising the bar. That means other games have to step up their game. That means they have to do things even better. They've got to do esports better. They've got to optimize. They've got to put out top-tier content. And at the end of the day, we, the people that play mobile games, are going to be the ones that benefit from it. So I think all in all, like you said, more new games coming out. That's going to force Apex to raise their bar as well. And there's a lot to be excited about.
Like we said, we made this podcast because it's the golden age of mobile gaming. We have so many games, so much interest, so much competition, so much everything is right around the corner. And we got a taste of it this week with Apex Legends Mobile. And if this is what we are going to come to expect, I'm here for it. We've stuck around, I know myself and Bobby, we've been in the mobile community for years and years. And to see this is what it's come to, I'm excited. We're getting our payoff for playing all those ROSs and crappy Fortnite mobiles and crappy Madden mobiles.
Diamonds in Rules of Survival. That's crazy, dude.
I got some V-Bucks. We got some V-Bucks out here.
Well, that's going to wrap things up for our second episode of the Two Thumbs Up podcast. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you're watching on YouTube and you want to just listen to the podcast instead, you can do so using the link down in the description for Spotify. Apple Podcast hates us for some reason, so we're still in the process of trying to figure that out. If you're listening on Spotify and you want to watch it over on YouTube, we're over there. And then make sure to subscribe to our Clips channel as well. We're going to be putting out shorter pieces just in case you guys don't have time to watch the entire thing. But I appreciate you guys listening in. Hope you did enjoy, and we will see you guys in the next episode.